10 charter buses roared down my driveway like a convoy from hell. 400 people stepped out onto my grass, sweating under the Texas sun, clutching paper plates and folding chairs, completely unaware they were about to become witnesses in a felony trespassing case. I smiled, raised the remote, and with one tiny motion, click, the gate locked behind them. HOA President Karen Wyndham froze mid-megaphone speech as the metal latch echoed through the property. Justice, I thought, has never sounded this good. My name's Jake Morrison, and I never wanted a fight. At 54, all I wanted was a piece of peace, a little land to breathe on after 30 years crawling through electrical panels and dusty attics. When my Uncle Eddie passed, he left me enough to buy 15 acres in Cypress County just beyond the Willowbrook subdivision. I was 200 feet outside their HOA boundary, far enough, I thought, to escape the suburban politics I'd seen ruin so many good neighborhoods. For 2 days, it felt like freedom smelled like cedar posts and new gravel. Then a white Cadillac Escalade rolled up my drive license plate, Croa Boss. Out stepped Karen Deborah Wyndham, 59 real estate agent turned neighborhood tyrant, heels clicking like gunfire on my driveway. She smiled that plastic politician smile and said, "Welcome to the neighborhood, Jake. You're going to love being part of our community." "Part of?" I asked. "Ma'am, my property's outside the HOA. Her grin sharpened. "Geography's just paperwork, honey. We'll fix that." That was the moment I realized freedom doesn't always come with fences, it comes with battles. Within a week, the complaints started. Noise violations for using a saw at 1 in the afternoon. Accusations of running an illegal business because I helped a neighbor jumpstart his car. Code enforcement showing up about my unsightly vegetable garden. It wasn't random. It was strategy death by paperwork. But I'm an electrician. I solve problems. So I installed cameras, saved every document, and waited. When she started parking her Escalade halfway across my driveway every morning at 6, I didn't argue. I measured. City Ordinance 714 required 4 feet of clearance from any driveway. I sent photos, timestamps, GPS data. 12 days later, she had 8 parking tickets and $680 in fines. The sound of the ticket printer outside became my morning coffee soundtrack. Most folks would have stopped there. Karen doubled down. She organized neighborhood watch meetings right in front of my property, 15 people standing in the street whispering about antisocial homeowners. My cameras caught every word. "We need to make his life so uncomfortable that he begs to join." Those were her exact words. I should have felt triumphant hearing it, but instead I felt sick. Nights got long. Every motion alert made my heart race. There were moments quiet, empty moments when I wondered if maybe she was right. Maybe I was the problem. Then Maria Santos, 73 years old and 5 feet of steel wrapped in kindness, showed up with tamales. "Don't let her win, Hijo," she said. "Bullies hate patience." That same week, Frank Rodriguez, a retired sheriff's deputy, started taking notes during her meetings. And one evening, the HOA treasurer, Randy Kowalski, knocked on my door like a man carrying a bomb. He spread papers across my kitchen table, fake invoices, forged checks, payments to Wyndham Property Management, LLC. "She's been stealing from us," he whispered. "Over 30 grand. That's when everything clicked. This wasn't personal harassment. This was organized corruption hiding behind lawn care bylaws. Karen escalated fast after that. Midnight car lights sweeping across my fence line, spray paint marks on my trees, bolt cutters glinting under security lights as she tried to break into my shed. I didn't stop her. I documented her. Certified letters followed cease and desists copies to the HOA board, all time-stamped and notarized. When she filed a false police report claiming I'd threatened her, I played the footage for the officers. They watched her in heels at 2 a.m., cutting my lock. The look on her face when they warned her about false reporting, priceless. But Karen wasn't done. She filed 14 fake code violations against me, illegal dumping unpermitted structures, even hazardous compost. The inspector stood among my tomato plants, shaking his head. I filed Freedom of Information requests, uncovered every lie, and counterfiled with evidence. By the time the dust settled, code enforcement was investigating her. Then came the moment she crossed from crazy to criminal. She knocked on the door of Bobby Kellerman, a disabled vet down the street, and told him his mortgage might be complicated if he didn't sign a petition against me. Bobby recorded everything. Her voice was clear as a bell. "I have connections in real estate and banking. Support me or you'll regret it." That was federal-level extortion, and she didn't even blink saying it. When we combined Bobby's recording, Randy's financial files, and my security footage, the picture was obvious: embezzlement, fraud, harassment, all orchestrated by one woman obsessed with control. But instead of going straight to the cops, I waited, because Karen had one more crime in her. 3 weeks later, an official HOA newsletter slid under my door. Annual Willowbrook Community Barbecue hosted at Community Green Space, 1847 Maple Ridge Drive. My address, no permission, no signature, just her smug stamp of authority. That's when I built the trap. 12 4K cameras with night vision, redundant cloud storage, a gate system controlled by my phone wide enough for buses impossible to open from outside once locked. Frank helped wire the sensors. Maria cooked empanadas for the crew. Randy supplied every forged document. Jessica, Maria's daughter, and a Channel 7 reporter agreed to cover the community event live. Everything was set. The morning of the barbecue felt like watching a storm roll in slow motion. At 7:15 a.m., the first catering truck arrived, exhaust curling through the heat. Karen stepped out of her Escalade in a spotless white pantsuit, megaphone in hand, barking orders. "Set up here. We're expecting 400 guests." She pounded on my front door. "Jake, stop this childish behavior and open your gate." I watched from inside, coffee in hand, doorbell camera recording every scream. When the locksmith arrived, she waved HOA paperwork like holy scripture. "Community property," she declared. The locksmith frowned. "Lady, unless you show me proof of ownership, I'm not touching that lock." I opened the door, held out my deed. "Here's proof," I said. He packed his tools and told her she'd better call the police on herself. So she did. 2 officers showed up within 10 minutes. Karen demanded they arrest me for blocking community property. I handed them my survey maps, tax receipts, title insurance. Officer Williams sighed. "Ma'am, this man owns his land. You're trespassing. Cancel your event." She snapped back, "HOA authority supersedes individual property rights." That was when the first of 10 charter buses rounded the corner. They came in waves, diesel engines, rumbling brakes, hissing heat, shimmering off the asphalt. Traffic backed up for blocks. Confused guests climbed out, looking around for picnic tables that didn't exist. Karen strutted among them, giving on-camera speeches about firm leadership and community unity. She didn't realize every word was a confession broadcast live. At 11:30, I stepped outside. The crowd hushed. "Ladies and gentlemen," I said, voice steady, microphone live, "welcome to my 15 acres of private property. HOA President Karen Wyndham organized this event without my permission or any legal authority." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. I raised a hand. "But I don't want innocent people to suffer. So please come in. Buses, catering trucks, everyone." The gates swung open with a deep mechanical hum. Karen's face lit up like she'd just conquered Texas. Guests cheered as they streamed in. For half an hour, I let the barbecue happen. Children played, families ate, cameras rolled. And then when the music hit its peak, I walked to the gate control panel. "Since you're all here without permission," I said, voice echoing across the field, "you're technically trespassing. Under Texas law, I can detain trespassers until police arrive." Karen blinked, realizing too late. I lifted the remote. So, click. The gate slammed shut, metal on metal. Gasps spread like wildfire. Bus drivers scrambled. Karen ran to the fence, yanking the latch, screaming incoherently. I held the microphone up. "Congratulations, Karen. You just confessed to multiple felonies on live television with 400 witnesses." Officer Williams was already walking down the drive, handcuffs glinting in the sun. The crowd parted. Karen backed away, heels digging into gravel. "You can't do this," she shouted. "I'm the president." "No," I said quietly. "You were." The cuffs clicked. The sound echoed off the oak trees and fences sharper than any thunderclap. Channel 7 cameras caught every second, the trembling hands, the ruined white suit, the end of a 9-year reign. And that's where it ended for me, not at a barbecue, not at a celebration, but at that single metallic click of justice. Because sometimes the only way to stop a tyrant isn't to fight louder. It's to let them build their own stage and hand them the microphone.